Hmm. Another thing that's got me thinking about the trinnov and the storm, the Denon Marantz anthem, and is the trinnov smoke and mirror? Hmm. Hmm. It's very easy to seduce and you go away, like I say, like weigh the checks and balances on this whole thing. I mean, what I was hearing in that conversation thing last night with that Shang Li and something cowboy and something Australia, um, down in Oz. Yeah, like say Oz. Yeah, will the man behind the curtain come out behind it? Is it smoke and mirrors? Yeah. If they were saying, "Oh, I hear the difference." Oh, yeah, it sounds like the walls opened up. What a load of nonsense! What sort of BS is that? Come on. I mean, like the cowboy guy said that he literally, like, he meant it. Well, of course, if I heard something like that, I would think I'd still be aware there's walls in the room. I'm in a room, but unless you blindfold and you're transported in a room without really knowing you're going into a room, so you have ear defenders on, or earplugs, ear defenders to double, make sure you can't hear anything, and you're picked up, say, like in a chair or something, so you'd feel wobble motion and such, and then you're placed in a room, but you don't know you're in a room, and then the earplugs, the ear defenders, earplugs are taken out, and you still got a blindfold on, and so we're going to play something this and that. Let's see what you think. Hmm. Otherwise, I would have thought if you're going to do a blind listening test, I would get, say, this Denon, the Marantz, the Anthem, the Storm, the Trinnov, the JBL, line them all up and have them play through an elaborate A, B, C, D, E, F system where it could be that everything's set up, voltage level, everything. No room EQ, nothing, none of that. Just set up bog standard, and then just play it because this guy in Oz was going on about like, oh, it's the processor, or maybe I'm not sure if it's the DAC, the digital audio converters, or analog digital converters, whatever, and or he's really sort of laying it in there, like say he means that like the Trinnov has got better DAC and all. What about A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on comparison to see if anyone can really honestly say they know it's a damn difference, because really you're justifying a huge price tag against something else that's a little bit less. And that would be one way eliminating, or maybe to try and catch Trinnov and pull their skirt down in public with an audience that'll, a few trained listeners, and we'll just see what they think. So you just put a few, not too many in a room, just a few within a certain seating middle position to see if they notice a flipping difference. So you playing the same disc through multitudes of processors that are all set up voltage level lined. All the voltage levels all set up so they're going to output the same. They're going to volume level's going to be same to see whether or not they can really honestly tell to notice. They the decoder chip on the trinnov is superior, because I think it's a load of BS. Like, I was kind of surprised that the Trinov's got this delay issue when turning the thing on, or it's got this, just like the Storm Audio. It's got a delay issue. It's got a sound bug issue with sound dropout. If you play a scene back and forth over and over and over, the sound audio would drop out on the audio on the processor, and it goes. If you got the processor, if you got the player in pause mode for maybe a few minutes, and then you resume play, you got no sound. Sometimes you got to turn the processor off and turn it back on again. Um, mm, so it doesn't work. It's got bugs. It's got glitches. Compared to other AV receivers that I've tried, they don't have that issue. The only issue with say like a Marantz or a Denon that I have, or used to, well, the Denon is still used if I only use it for laser disc or VHS tape, and it's used as sending the signal over to the through the video input, and then it outputs on the HDMI because it's going for a video conversion. It occasionally has video loss, so it thinks there's no signal on the video. So you get a black screen, or you get that graphic display popping up on an OLED, like a picture frame sort of thing, until it's established a video signal, or it can sense and re-establish the signal again. Otherwise, you play a VHS tape straight through to providing a TV. It's got a video input on it. Most TVs now don't even have a video input on it. Crying out loud. Talk about no backup. And through some AV or some processors, it might happen on the Trinnov, or might happen on the Storm Audio. If I could, I'd probably have to get a converter box that converts a video signal into HDMI, and then I plug it into one of the HDMI inputs. And if I were to play the scene on a VHS tape, rewind it, typically when it's going through the Denon, I get a black screen. Normally, you would still see the image when it's going through raw from the player over to a TV or video projector through a video signal. You would still see the video signal. And with Laserdisc, usually that doesn't have the sort of visual search issue like with VHS. It's usually a little bit different, but usually sometimes, again, it thinks the signal has disappeared, and I get a black screen, and sometimes I wait a few seconds and then I don't see it coming back on again, and all I have to do is turn the video selector on the Denon from one mode and then turn it back, and then wait a few seconds, and then the video signal comes back on, or the video signal is reestablished. But on the older equipment, you wouldn't have that problem. It's because it's going through all this digital enhancement crap today. If it was a HDMI signal from a player, probably doesn't have that issue, which I've not really noticed having that issue. So when it's going for a video, because it's going from a video signal, and then it's converting it, upscaling it. It's going for a, even though if you go for, say, like a HDMI for a conversion, HDMI output, so it's going HDMI into a converter, HDMI, enhancing, improving, bullshitting, putting pig's lipstick on the clarity of the picture, and then it outputs with a little bit more pig lipstick maybe on the projector or the OLED TV, because they have an enhancing thing as well. So you got lots of pig's lipstick, yeah, being applied. Does it look good? Not too bad, actually. I've seen worse, apart from the crappy HDMI and all this disc crap today, and you see all this color banding noise. Oh god. That is a complete turn off for watching a movie that's bullshitting with your immersive bullshitting experience. And then that is a complete, it's like you meet a girl for the first time, you think, you're not quite my type. Here, put a paper bag over your head. That's what the bloody disc looks like to me. It's like, it's terrible. It's repulsive. It's the worst bloody artifact I've ever seen. You can't escape that crap when you see it on those streaming networks. Oh god, you got your eye scrutinized. At least I have. I got it scrutinized and ready. You know, those things can sometimes get masked by some other sort of bullshit. But if you know what to do, then you think, oh yeah, I can still see it. But you wouldn't see it in the natural color world. It just wouldn't exist. So yeah, not not entirely still convinced about a trinnov. Still scrolling through the manual here. What's this thing here? Oh, RT60. Still a lot of things there that I'm still not fully convinced, or I can find this justifiable. Because the more that you just listen to how the soundtrack plays back, I mean, you're going to care that much. What are we talking about here now? Level A compensated, level C compensated, delay compensated, BM delay, polarity, crest factor. I think some of those things there mentioned you can use with just any conventional other tool. It's like they packaged this sort of thing and put it into the which I suppose isn't too bad. But is it still justifiable? I mean, even if a trinnov was found on the road in the gutter, that someone just drove along with their car and they just threw it out the car, and it's just laying there in the gutter, meaning, it's still brand new, it's all, it's working, and you can just go and pick it up, and it's just been thrown there in the gutter. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's kind of I've really roasted that. Throw it in the gutter. I mean, I'm just looking to see whether this is all justifiable. Got all these pink noise inputs, da da da, said Jeff. You can do all that on a you could do all that on a room EQ wizard. You could do that on a Storm processor. You do a little bit more with an REW if you know how to program the Storm processor, and then yeah, you can have pink noise going all over the bloody room until it makes you dizzy. That's all I'll be doing now is pushing a lot of buttons. I want to get into listen to something. I've already done that. I've already done that. I've seen all these bullshit tests on the audio science review, and I'm just wondering, is most of all that totally honest and legitimate? Well, they're just trying to, because it's strange. There are these other parameters on the Storm audio, which I wouldn't be surprised if they're found on the trinnov. It's like when you go into the Storm audio frequency response and you see the frequency graph or the EQ features, and then you can put the little cursor right down at the bottom, the little triangle with the thing, and then you can scroll the page. You can go down from a certain frequency response, and then you go into another page and another page. Which some of it I don't have much experience, but I do know it's got something to do with audio parameter calculation, setting it up, and all that sort. The actual processor, you probably need another. They have a software or something that connects with it that can talk with those sort of things. There's other things I think that, and then you can scroll the other way. You could go down this way, or you can scroll up the other way. And you're seeing things like, well, I'm seeing symbols like microfarad. That's something to do with capacitance or something. Um, and then I see other symbols and such, and I'm thinking, not familiar with that. I've noticed that before, but there are other things, but you can't really use them on the processor. That's something that you just can't use, or I don't know. It's bizarre that the processor they should only have the basic EQ filters on that processor Storm to only go down to 16 hertz. Of course, I can get lower than that. It will go lower, but you just can't put a filter at 10 hertz or where I need to put some filters just to smoothen out and even this in-room acoustical response on the subs. Because it does have, because of the characteristic of the sub, the driver, its interaction within the room, and I do see these odd little wiggles and such, and I think it's doable to correct it, but a lot of care has got to be done with that. Can't be just you know because I can see the dB drop offs, and when you start adding things, or even if you subtract, you don't have to add. You can subtract certain frequencies and use filters or high pass, low pass filterings and subtract. But then you got to amplify it. Once you got everything right, then you can bring it up a little bit. But you got to be observant and careful that you're not overdriving the amplifier with harmonic a load of harmonic noises, or possibly overdriving it near to clipping, because it needs quite a bit of care attention. But if it's partly adjusted with using, say, the same subs, you know, you just add on and add on and add on, and your dB level just naturally increases 3 dB, 3 dB, or maybe 4 or 6 dB, depending on the location positioning in the room, and it just increases without necessarily amplituding the level up too high until it runs into problems where it's just going to break down. But you would always have an audio limiter in use, so it would smoothly prevent the drivers going into well, wrecking the amplifier and wrecking the sub driver. Because I haven't lost a sub driver. I'm sure most people in the home theatre have, and have done that many times due to ego, hanging around on AVS forum, rubbish places like that, and maybe not really into it. They just think, oh, they need to announce their sub bass speaker to their entire neighborhood. um, mm, which is totally unnecessary, because once it pressuring the room at a certain dB, you think that's more than enough. And you probably think, I don't think it was that level at the cinema, or was it? And then most people probably can't remember. You know, I can remember the rumble deepness of seeing that Dune 2 at the bloody lousy cinema downtown, not to mention the rest of the bloody soundtrack sounding too bloody harsh, and I got to put my earplugs in my ear and then walk out because I can't fucking watch the movie. I've got to walk out on it. And I think I'll go and have a look at the other auditoriums, and I'll come back maybe in 20 minutes. I didn't really watch that movie at the cinema. I only saw bits and pieces of it, like clips, small little clips on YouTube. Stuck around and watched the end credits. Everyone else, they walked out. I thought it was an epic movie of epic 4K disc proportion, Atmos bullshit proportion, Oscar winning. And yet the audience weren't watching, I mean, the end credits or reading. Maybe they can't read, maybe they're dyslexic. But they weren't listening to Hans Zimmer. My goodness. My goodness. Maybe they just can't stand Hans Zimmer. I can't stand him either. But I stuck around. It was still bloody blaring through the end credit. It was just like, oh. Particularly going through the 7.1s with auditorium on a CP750 with the JBLs and that audit, it was just bloody deafening. I couldn't imagine being sat at the back of the auditorium. Those surrounds were horrendously too loud. There was something just not naturally sounding balanced right with that music score. I mean, in the middle of the auditorium, it seems evenly. Is it evenly balanced? That's the thing. Is it? I don't know. I don't know what their frequency pink noise response is like in those auditoriums. They don't have much in the way of safety things with audio limiters to fucking lower the level down and keep it calm without pissing the audience off. Oh, the day when they had THX sound system cinemas. Oh, fucking hell. They just put these regular cinemas in the dust. Yeah, or maybe it was just a case of a little bit more attention. Yeah, maybe if they go back in a little bit at a time to these lousy cinema screens down at the bloody downtown, and maybe improve it a little bit more, and then until they got it. Trouble is the auditoriums themselves is they don't have much in their design architecturally to really have the same speaker Because typically in a home, you cut corner, you use the same speaker, literally going all around. That doesn't mean you're going to get the same timbre matching. If you put the speakers side by side, literally, yeah, they sound the same. But when you spread them apart, it's like, how much differences are there? You're still going to get bass peaks up and down throughout the room on each and every single speaker. Well, does the bass waveform do anything for that? Does it, you know? Mm, think about it. But then those speakers, they're very small. They're not the same. They're very small and they're not going to have much output unless you use cinema PA speakers. And it's very rare you go to some auditoriums or different film formats where they use more or less the same speakers, the same they use them in those IMAX ones, they use the same speakers. Not really just so you get timbre matching, but well, a little bit of adjustment. Yeah, it's not a secret, you know. Um, I think the Douglas Trumbull's show scan had um, possibly the same sort of speakers going through behind the screen and for the surrounds, or the speaker used for the surround output. Interesting design and for a show scan cinema in Japan, but doesn't exist anymore. I think it had been decommissioned many decades ago, many decades ago. But it's interesting. JBL components. My goodness, they almost look bigger than the blimmin' the speakers used for the IMAX. Oh, some of the original ones for the IMAX were based on JBL speaker components. They're different now because they're different manufacturer. Um, mm, but just because it's doesn't mean it's IMAX. It's just a PA speaker. That's all it is. You look at most home cinemas rooms that are a bit larger than mine room. I mean, that Shane Lee, his room's a little bit larger than mine, and he could have proper JBL speakers behind that screen and proper JBL cinema speakers, the surround speakers, if you go for that. But it's better to have the same speaker. But if your room architecturally can't accommodate, then you got to compromise. Otherwise, you got to design something where you're using literally big ass and they will just put out big ass sound. Or you can make the speakers sound like a tiny Bose speaker if you want to, just by using the crossover and adjusting it until it makes the speaker sound not large, but very small in frequency bandwidth. Simple. But you can't do that with a small speaker. You can only take a small speaker to a certain loud level until it can't go any further than that. It will just break down. It's as simple as that. So you just spent thousands on a crappy tiny speaker that can only do very so little because the manufacturers in the home theater market, the way they bullshit. Hey, over here. Yeah, over here we got these lovely speakers. Oh, they're lovely. Oh, they're gorgeous. You would love them. Love them? You seem a bit weird. Please back off away from me. Love them? How can you love something that's immaterial? Like it and dislike it, yes, but not love it. You can't love your mobile phone. You can like it for what crap it can do and what crap it cannot do. You cannot love it. It's a piece of mostly fucking plastic with a circuit board and some fucking electrical microchip and components on it, for crying out loud. Yeah, get a pet cat. Yeah, you can love that. It give warmth, affection, and yeah, and a lot more. But you can't get that from a cinema home processor. You can't get love. You like it or dislike it, or you absolutely loathe it. Because at the end of the day, it is nothing more than a pack of immaterial pack of electronics. So it looks like a storm. It looks like a trinnov is definitely not on the playing card because, frankly, the more things change, the more things remain the same. No, not if Shane Lee had a trinnov dragging through the mud through a gutter, and he said, "Here, you can have it for free." No, no thanks. I mean, the storm, yeah, I agree, sort of. May not look cosmetically appealing, um, but then nor does the Trinnov. It's just got more buttons and knobs on the front of the processor and such. Um, but it doesn't have in any way a touch screen like some other processors or such. They got a touch screen, and I'm curious to know how long it takes, how many seconds. So if you go from video mode number one to video mode number two, how many seconds does it take to switch? Is it also navigationally quick and easier rather than you got to press some buttons scrolling down? That takes a few seconds, mind you. I mean, if you were the Firefox Clint Eastwood, you got to be using that full century um, helmet, and you can zero in on your target with by reducing seconds, and then just fire on your target. Can I, because I could switch sound format modes quick on a CP cinema processor or a Sony SDDS. It's instant. Go from one mode on a Sony SDDS over to the next video, over to the next audio. It's almost transparent. But on these home ones, it's like there's a delay going on. It's not very quick. In a cinema, it's got to be quick because you got an audience, you got a lot of people listening, watching. It's got to be quick and fast. In a home, it just seems a little bit slowish. Mind you, I've seen snails go a lot faster than a storm and a trinnov. They just go, "What the heck was that? What the heck was that I just saw?" That's how fast they go. Yeah, see, I've got my little trained snails, you see. So I think this is getting more down to a roasting the trinnov again because, nah, got to look at what it can do and what it can't do. How many EQ filters am I looking at? This is going from, where's this going from? According to the Trinnov, I'm not sure if that is 10 hertz or 16 hertz there. It's hard to say on this, what's it, PDF file, because it's so smeared. They didn't even use a high definition um what's it for because I can zoom it in, it just gets more smeared. It's hard to say whether that's a 10 or a 16. I'll just have to assume it's a 10, and it goes up to 20k because there's no point going higher than 20,000 kilohertz because the frequencies or any sound effects that are played in movies, music, you could set a Link Riley crossover at 48 dB and you can turn it up to say maybe 8 kilohertz, and all you're going to hear is you're just going to hear noise like that. It'll be completely fucking, oh, talk about the word incoherent. Unless it's playing some movie science fiction sine wave sound, but music, complete crap. It's not even legible. Not even if it was Jean Michel Jarre. Well, it might be a little kind of a synthy electronical up at that range, but not enough really to blow your skirt up. um, yeah, and the more higher you set it, that 10 kilohertz at Link Riley 48 dB, it's just like you can see it, but you really can't hear it. You can increase the amplitude, and providing you got a tweeter, not that I don't think there's going to be many tweeters on a home theater system. I don't think it's going to be hanging around. You need to have it playing back on something that can handle, because you're going to need quite a bit of amplitude that can handle, and of course you've got to do it's going to be complete garbage. Um, our hearing at the end of the day, though we like to see if we can hear that sort of tone or sine wave or whatever the heck it is, you know, we think we want to hear down to, if gotta go back a little bit, down to infrasonic up to, well, 20k really. I would say the most on the average we can hear up to is maybe 10,000 kilohertz. Sad, really. So that kind of puts it down a bit, a little bit, doesn't it? But you can strive, but unless you're sweet sick, and unless you're 10 years old or something, you know, you might hear those frequencies a bit easily under a certain standard of listening parameter. I'm using a load of mumbo jumbo bullshit just to sweeten and make it look like put a bloody cherry on top of the bloody words. Unless you're that age, you're there, that spectrum. Otherwise, when you get sweet 16, 17 or such, evolution rolls off our hearing. It's probably not super flat at first, but it's got a curve on it, but it rolls off a little bit extra. So the range that we used to, or may heard maybe a few times, is now a little bit softer. It's the same with, say, like, you got your eyesight is okay, and you got something that's focused on an object, and you just slightly put it out of focus, and it's, what the heck is that? Am I looking at? And it's like, what the heck is that? Am I listening to? I'm not too sure, unless you do a sine wave tone, and then you can see, oh, I can still hear that tone. But do you notice the music fundamentals playing up to that range? Never mind about dialogue intelligence, all this crap that I keep. What was that thing that I saw last night? It was last night or the other day. It might have been in another video. Crap, something I saw somewhere. Where, hang on, what the heck was it? I don't think it was the techno dad guy. No, no, I don't think it was him. Uh, Hang on, where was it? Where was it? Da, 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 da. I think it's that other guy. He lives in his basement. Maybe his mum's basement. Probably James Cameron's AI basement. You never know until you ask the guy. Hey, is that James Cameron's basement? Yeah, unless he knows the joke. um, was it that video? Oh gosh, what video was it? Because they were going on about dialogue intelligibility. I mean, I know now. I know. It's that guy, Aaron. That's it, Aaron. Aaron Speaker Corner. Yeah, with his robotic thing that does the laser with the shark with the laser beam on its head and does the scanning with the speakers. And he was going on about center channel speakers. That's it, center channel speakers, and all this dialogue and intelligibility and two-way. No, a three-way speaker. Yeah. Well, have you ever set a full range speaker? I mean, an ordinary. I could set my speakers behind the screen, all the bass cab. I could set them to full range, and they'll go up to with RTA testing until the frequency rolls off. They'll just manage up to about, oh gosh, what's the highest range they get until it just drops off. But I'm sure you could tweak it a little bit, and you can just probably get a little bit more out of it with some high pass filters. Until it really is way down there too far, and it's not worth it. I think they can get up to 4 kilohertz. Maybe about 5 kilohertz. And realistically, listening to say the center channel that's got dialogue, music, and effect on it, and you got a difference. Of course, most people still can't even understand the use of a center channel, even to this day. Most people in a home theater can still completely clueless. It's all discrete sound and mix, and it's all the meaning. It's got all could be blended together, and it gives you this wow, oh wow. But yeah, I could play those bass cabs full range, and yet listening to a dialogue sort of level, I could get it up to a certain level where it sounds very, very bold and grandeur, and it would just knock the socks off. You play a scene, and it would just knock your socks off. It would if you heard it in the room. And then I just put a filter, and then I just go back to putting crossover filters on it, and it completely changes most of the speech, voice, as well as music or sound effects. And then you put a filter back on it down to a certain crossover range, certain frequency, and then the rest of the frequency range is taken over on the HF horn. And those that say, oh, a HF horn is too harsh, can be if it's not adjusted. But if it gets too loud, put an audio limiter on it and it will keep it calm. But oh, it's easy. It's easy to adjust. It's easy. It's easy to adjust. Mm. Oh, okay, that's okay. No worries. Um, yeah, yeah. So you can do a few things with that because there's only a certain loudness frequency. The diaphragm on a compression horn. There's only so much it could probably do until, well, I don't want to push it to a point. That would be with low frequencies, that would completely knacker the um the diaphragm. Then, and that makes a problem, because I've got to pull the bloody thing behind the back of the screen, put it on a bench, put a new diaphragm on it. So I haven't lost any diaphragms on my largest cinema HF horns yet. Though sometimes they can make it to about 250 hertz. Um, hmm, hmm. So that means you could push the bass cab down just a little lower on the crossover. Of course, it's it's a lot more to get in the detail. I was thinking about detail. What about having multitudes of different JBL bass cabs? I mean, these are big ass PA speakers. Um, they'll definitely make the USS Enterprise go into warp factor one. Um, um, yeah, I could have some of those big ass 40, 45, 50s. Big ass. They are big ass bass horn loaded cab. I could do a modification with using a certain JBL HF horn on it and position it in such a way looks so it will look similar to like one of those IMAX ones. Because it wouldn't really matter about the bass frequency, the other bass frequencies where they'll still get around that HF horn where I would have it placed, and I would have an array of these things going from the floor up to as high as it can go, and have the HF horns so that they could be tilted, so they still have an adjustment fitted in and so they can still be adjusted to adjust the beaming of the angle of the sound. Um, only problem is getting it to rotate slightly, go from side to side. Yeah, I'm sure something like that can be engineered. Yeah. Um, if the cab has to be moved slightly by a few tiny degrees, then the cab has to be slightly moved by tiny degrees. Not that you're going to notice it too much, or does it show up, or does it register in a room on a microphone with absolute days and days of testing to see whether it does make a difference. I mean, not that I mean, not that I mean by a difference. I mean by fudging up the signal in the low end. Um, because bass It's just going to literally go out from the speaker omnidirectional, and it's going to go behind the speaker and wherever. Oh, it's just going to go everywhere depending on the type of bass frequency. Um, because you got to aim to get the bass, literally to come out right from the front of that speaker out into the room and from the surrounds and so forth. Otherwise, it's going to bass will find a way, you know. It's Jurassic bass, rah, and it will find a way. And when those bass frequencies get around into little areas where you can't really see, oh yeah, believe me, it's going to alter that wave, that frequency. It's going to manipulate it, and it's going to do it. You're going to think, well, I got this room all, but is it airtight? You go to an auditory center or dub, yeah, it's still gonna, you play some sound, you can still hear it coming round those typical corridors that you got to gut it. So it's like, you know, this is totally because I think you would tighten it up because it'd be like, let me think. It's physics, isn't it? I'm trying to find other things that would not exactly be identical because sound and frequency and the way it goes out is just what we just hear is impulses on our ears at different arrivals, reflection time arrivals, and we just hear these impulses. But does a test measuring equipment, would it detect, like, it's like, say you got an inner tube on your bike, you got a puncture, you got to like find out where it's punctured and where you can fix it. And one way is to use water, or you put a bit of water until you see the bubbles, and it's venting. And so you clean it, put a new wasset on it, and put it back into the tire, and put it all back, and off you go. It's like that for a room. Certain frequencies in the bass generate a signal where the wave of it, do we want it to be felt, even though it's artificial, pressing against our body? I mean, it's not gonna. I mean, what does a decompression chamber sound and feel like? A decompression chamber. You can't even try that movie, The Abyss. Not even License to Kill, where one of the villains is in a decompression chamber and the Sanjaz guy breaks the valve and it goes complete bonkers. And then it's like watching something out of that movie, which is another sort of decompression thing. What is it? Outland. That's it. Outland, where you expose you to a different atmosphere of pressure. Don't think really want to go there actually. Um, yeah, so you're talking about putting a pressure in a room, because it's sometimes easy to notice that a speaker has got a bit of a problem because you can hear this kind of or some sort of whistly sound, because somewhere on the bass frequency is producing a frequency note where it's filling it with air, and it's venting. All it takes is just a little bit of silicon sealant or a bit of cocktail or whatever. Liquid nails is good. A liquid nail that goes hard as nails. That's usually good stuff at sealing things. um, because it also will restore a little bass from the speaker, because you see the frequency response dropping down slightly, and when you seal the vent, the gap, and you see the SPL, you do a frequency sweep and you notice it's gone up a slight nudge in a certain frequency range. So it's like seeing whether the pressure in the room is otherwise it's only going to do it's like the THX ones, you know. So there's something very different about them. Something very, very different. You know, what you need is a few. Look into an area, and then it's like a door that's open in the room. It's going to change the frequency curve in the low end by several dB. But it's interesting when open a door a little bit, open a window a little bit, and then it gives a little increase in the infrasonic frequency. It goes up a few dB without necessarily turning it up. It gets natural, goes up a little bit. Yeah, it's figuring little things like those out. Little things that are in front. You got a system, might as well just start snooping all over it, scrutinizing and snooping it. You know, just because a manufacturer says this, you know, we know a speaker's got a voice card. We know it only can go backboard for electrical amplitude signals, and that's all it can do. So what else can it do? What else can be done? You know? Yeah. Anyway. So how many frequency bands are on this trinnov? How many can I count? These little dots. These little dots here. How many of those are there? Let's use the whatsit to count. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Okay. I could have printed that up somewhere. I wouldn't have to count all those little dots. 60. Oh, hmm. 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 But I'll still be, I don't know. Hmm. Is that on the main EQ on the processor? How many does a Dirac use? Hmm. Can you add any more filters? That's the thing. Simple yes or no. Can I add? No. A simple yes or no. Can this processor be? No, that doesn't make sense. A simple yes or no. Can the trinnov? No, that doesn't make sense. What the fuck am I? Oh, I think I've been up too long. A simple yes or no. Can any more filters be added to increase it to 70, 100? Because I can see the little lines vertical, and you go in, you zoom in a little bit closer, and then you got a few more. Because when you go from that sine wave starting, even though that's not too bad, 60. It's just when it gets up to those high frequencies, and then you got to move that microphone around a little bit, maybe, because it might be showing an error or something that might be, you're going to be thinking, oh, I need to decrease the frequency and EQ and applying some boost, but boosting, that should be done very carefully so that you don't run out of headroom on the amplifier. Otherwise, any time a sound or frequency in a mic, a film, in a soundtrack, it's going to push that frequency a little bit more, way higher than it should be going, and then it's going to, so get near to clipping the amplifier. But 60, I mean, does it get, like I say, you get up to above 10,000 kilohertz and you're listening to sound, and it's rather boring up there. It's like there's not much going on apart from you can see a sine wave tone on a generator, but 60's not too bad. 100 would be okay. I mean, I'd be quite comfortable if it was 20,200. Then I know I can just literally go onto every, just at my leisure, just put the microphone where it needs to be behind in front of the screen or such, and just at my leisure, just go through this multiple microphones, all set up, all ready, and then I can switch one microphone off, one microphone on, and so on, and go through, and then adjust the frequency very steadily on the sine wave. So I put it on the generator and I can see that is there, or if I want to do a frequency sweep. But I'd rather do it in pink noise with real time, so I could just put my finger on the control and adjust and adjust and adjust and adjust until everything starts coming flat, because electronically, it will be flat. Acoustically, when it comes out, it's all up and down like a roller coaster ride. I want to get it flat acoustically, and then after I've done that, then I want to put a high pass filter in, and then put a little rise in the frequency in the upper highs, or maybe a little bit more amplitude, so I can, it can amplitude, basically focusing amplitude, bringing those upper highs a little bit. Maybe I could just about hear those sci-fi sound effects in that science fiction movie. I can hear that tone just pinching my ear. But when it's pinching my ear, what SBL is it? If I look at the SBL meter, it's crikey. Oh, ouch, because you just feel this pinching effect on your on your ear membrane, your eardrum. You feel a pinching sound. But when it's say like a 2 kilohertz or 3 or 4 kilohertz, it doesn't quite pinch. You just suddenly just turn the volume down. You go, flipping heck. But it's not like you can feel this. It's like a tiny, well, like plucking a hair off your head and putting it down your ear canal. It's not going to damage your eardrum. You feel the weight of a very tiny bit of hair, and you just go, oh, ouch. Or it's like you feel this will be for lower frequency. This will be for lower frequency because it's a different sensation. 20 hertz. Put a little eardrop of water in your ear canal, and it goes uniform, because it's not like a little bit of hair. It's just gradually just poking slightly in a small area. But when it's a bit of water, you've got this kind of coolness, and suddenly, of course, muffled sound, because the liquid is covering the eardrum uniformly, and it just muffles the sound with a weight on it, a pressure. That's why squeeze your nose. So you don't quite get that sensation when you play in the play a 20 hertz sine wave. Just it's just pressure around the room, but there's something about it that's if I were to put earphones on, the cans on, and then play a 20 hertz sine wave, I would probably notice the pressure different compared to from a sub bass speaker or from a speaker going out within the room. The pressure, where I think that is going to be a little bit different. So there's like, there's something missing. There's something missing. And then that's just noticing on your ear. You're not feeling it all over your body. You kind of sense a kind of, if it's at a normal, realistic level, but doesn't seem very exciting. You turn it up and up and up, it gets boring. A lot of that energy is just going to absolute waste in the room, because it's not really mechanically doing that. Unlike you see that lousy YouTuber that likes to make everybody think that his 33-inch sub bass speakers are doing that sort of bullshit. That's an acro, or that's a camera effect that you add on to the computer to do a gimmick. Like it's just like doing that with my hand, and you see a blur effect because the frame rate and such. It's like you look at the illusion of stop motion animation. Ray Harryhausen, I think. Ray Harryhausen. You look at the Sinbad, that's it, movie with the skeleton things moving around. They don't have this motion blur. They move around like too perfect. And that's not how we see things. We will see it with a motion, a slight blur or such. That's where the stop motion got a little bit better with or such movie, maybe like Empire Strikes Back, where they used a different frame rate or a different such technique, and they called it a go motion. Because the techniques were probably not foreseen back in the earlier stages of stop motion animation. So yeah, you see a YouTube video that's you got bass playing, or you think, oh bloody hell, it's an earthquake, and it looks like that. You think bloody hell, what is it, a bloody 8.6 on the bloody Richter scale? Yeah, your roof's gonna come down on top of your head. Oh. Oh. I don't know. Yeah, so takes a bit. Takes a bit to get that. These sort of things. Oh, that's a bit nippy. The heating on. Oh, it's a bit. Oh, no, I haven't got any gloves. I'm thinking about going out. Oh dear, I'm not going to like it. It's still too cold out there. I've got no freaking gloves. So it's only a short distance down the road. It's only a short distance. That's if I can even make it. That light is still flicking. Oh, that circuit is knackered. That light is really knackered now. Let's unplug that light. That's completely. It's doing nothing. Where is it? down? Oh dear. Okay. Oh gosh, hang on, I was going to turn the heating on. Turn the heating on. A bit nippy. It's not even April yet. At least another 7 weeks. I know at least another seven weeks until it starts to warm up a little bit. Yeah, so this trinnov is still not looking good. But 60. They call them FIR EQ. Sounds like Thunderbirds. FAA. Oh, no, was it FAB? Thunderbirds are go. Dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, da. Oh yeah, you got a simple EQ thing here that can be used. Hang on, let's have a look at that. Oh, that's hang on, a different EQ there, I think. Let's have a look. What's this one? How many sliders can I see on it? Looks like a third octave. Yeah, it looks like a third octave on this one. This one's different. So you got those filters on there. And you got these ones here, and that looks like third octave because I can see 20 to 20. So I don't have to count the slide, just count just in case. Sometimes they have third octave EQs and they only got 29 band on them, but they'll still be centered on third octave Q bandwidth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 31 band. Which is a little bit more than the Storm Audio. But unless you use the rack on the Storm, and then you get a little bit more. But I find the Storm Audio a little bit fiddly with its Dirac. It's a little frustrating. I know how to use these flipping things. I want to get straight into it. I don't want to bundle around with the damn thing. I get straight into it. You get straight into a cinema processor. You can get straight into the EQ without fumbling around with it. What the heck is all this here? Yeah, okay. I could do that. You could do that. You could do all this individual delay and all that on the Storm Audio. Oh yeah, let me have a look. Let me go back. What dB Um, are these in 0.1 dB steps or are they in 0.5 dB steps? And look at the FIRs. I think those would be in 0.1 dB steps. Can I read anything in the manual that says amplitude dB, group delay, phase? 1 dB or 0. Oh, right. So you can adjust the parameter. Oh, right. So you can adjust the parameters to do either a 1 dB step or 0.1. Actually, 0.1 dB step is better because it will be probably a tiny little itsy bitsy fraction too, but not that you're going to notice the difference. But yeah, you see the difference, maybe, but maybe you wouldn't hear it because it's tiny fraction that be like, so fucking what? I can't tell the difference there, really. Get on with it. What else has this thing got? Yeah, thing. Can it shapeshift like in the thing? Can it do below surround? Or do I have to add on the same thing and do matrix below surround? Okay, what else is this? Still not too sure about the third octave EQ on here. Are those in 0.5 dB steps, or because with an actual third octave EQ manual one, not DSP, you can actually just do tiny itsy litsy bitsy fractions on the slide because it's on a slider. But these are these sliders, they're digital, and I'm guessing it's probably going to be 0.5 dB steps. But do you notice much difference between a 0.5 dB? So you adjust one frequency that's out of position, off position by 0.5 dB, half a dB. Not really. Not unless it was cut down by 3 or dB or boosted by 3D. You probably notice that. Unquestionably. What's the optimizer? Off buttons optimizer setting, runtime, selective in a optimize remapping. What the heck is that? See, some of the graphics on there, this manual are just completely not legible. I can't. That it's like it's completely out of focus. I can't even read what the heck that is. What are they talking about there? Switching the optimizer on and off main user interface. I can't even read what that says there. That's completely. Oh dear. It's like they print screen all this into the PDF manual, but they weren't using a high resolution. It makes it very difficult to read. You know, you can read the text, but you can't read the actual display very clearly. It's completely, oh dear. That doesn't even help. Zoom in. Crikey, it just all goes all blotchy. I think they must have used a let me see. If this was at 720p, it'd probably be readable. It's like it's maybe 480p. It might just be legible, but it's like it's at 360 or 240p. It's just so fuzzy, the image. What the heck's this say here? I can't. I can see the bulk of it, but I can't really read what it says. Master levels and delay. Oh, can it do what's it on the because what can't the Storm Audio do now? Or at least it should. At least I could do it on the Denon. I can't do it on the Storm Audio. Now, which is that? It's something to do with the the analog and the digital levels. So I want the analog levels or the digital levels set at different levels depending on the film soundtrack that's going to be used or whatever soundtrack is going to be used. You got individual levels. You got something like a level adjustment thing on the Storm Audio, but a little bit frustrating that. And I think, though, the Storm Audio volume level at zero level, zero is obviously maximum, and you can go a little few dB above it, depending on the level of the soundtrack. If the level's very low, then you can turn the fader level up because a typical fader level or on a cinema processor, 0 dB is number 7, and on the cinema processor you could go to fader 8, 9, and 10. And no, there is no number 11 here, I'm afraid. But I suppose they say the trinnov can go to 11. This can, it's one more that over the edge. I don't think it probably goes up to 10 dB plus, or no. I think on the Denon or the Marantz AVR got, and even one of the Onkyos, I think Yamaha AVR, some of those levels can go up to plus, I think plus 10 or plus 12. But you don't dare use that level when you got a high level sound mix or audio mix recording that's already, otherwise you wreck your amplifier, wreck your speakers. That's why the audio limiter should be used and engaged, so if someone were to carelessly turn it up, it won't do any damage because it can't possibly go any higher. So that's another reason to use an audio limiter. Although the audio limiter can be used for a little bit more, but not sure what the trinnov goes to, what the max level or the volume level goes up to. Not that it makes any difference, because if I wanted to give an illusion on the Storm, I just use the output level on it, and I can increase it up to plus 12 dB. So that means I would have to re-establish the oh gosh, it's a little bit complicated. I'd have to play Pink Noise, and I get, okay, the volume is at 0. That's number 7. Okay. The Pink Noise on the Storm Audio can be adjusted on the output. You can adjust it to be a very soft level or very high level. but it normally is at minus 20 dB. And minus 20 dB, you set the volume stays at zero. It's outputting minus 20 dB, and then you adjust the output to the amplifiers or loudspeaker management system, and making sure that the loudspeaker management LEDs and indicate the everything goes out to the system, and then increasing with a little bit more, increasing the amplitude level until the SBL meter with your earplugs in or your ear defenders, because it's pink noise even at 75 dB is bloody loud. And then you just take it up until it registers 85 dB, and it's a little bit more than that because you've got to make sure absolute when switching the SPL meter between A and C, the needle is within a, a tolerance of, or well, you back it off, back it down, back it all back down to say a comfortable level. So you turn the fader level down from number 7 or 0, and you take it down maybe 10 dB or 15 until it's comfortable, and you can see, and you still play around with the EQ filters and the SBL meter with the needle and get the reading. So when you switch the A weighting and C weighting, you get it within, so you know you've got the high frequencies. Otherwise, sometimes the high frequencies in the A weighting might be a little bit low, or you got to get the shift and the balance. All it takes is a few hours, maybe a few days, because there's a lot of things to adjust until you got the needle within a, you know, because because the C weighting is going to pick up the full bandwidth, the full spectrum, the lows, the mids, the highs. The A weighting is only going to pick up the HF horn range and maybe a little fraction of the bass, but depending on what frequency is outputting and what the filters on that A weighting are capable of picking up. And then you just get it until you got it spot on. Mm. What's this buffer size, clock setting, master diff? What the heck is all this? I'm sure if I Google that, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something outboard. But I haven't got any room left in that rack to plug in unless I subtract something out of the rack, and it's not much rack space in there. It's just one more space for one more U frame of equipment that can fit in the rack, unless I trade off the other things. And what the heck is this? A default audio clock automatically switches to slave. Oh, it's got a slave on it. Oh, is it like is there a cat involved here? Do I have to feed this processor whiskers? What are you talking about there? Um, hmm, I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue. I catch on quickly. I do catch on. I've got a clue with that, so I'm not experienced with that, whatever that is. World clock. Oh, it's got a clock on it. Oh, right. Tells the time, yeah. Has it got a microwave oven on it? Crikey. World clock. Bloody hell. That's something like on the Behringer equalizer, the DEQ. It's got a world clock on it, a thing that connects onto the back of the back of the EQ. But I've got little experience with something using like that, and you got to have something else connected to it. So something like some features here that does it make the soundtrack playback improved? I don't know. Intriguing. Anyway, I won't lose any sleep on that. But unless it's supposed to be used for something else, world clock corresponds to the input sample rating. Usually that's pretty straightforward. Yeah, like the sample rating on the DTS decoder, because the DTS, the professional decoder, has got sample rates. And if it's set incorrectly, all the sound that goes into it goes, it sounds like noise. It sounds like it's scrambled. And it's got to be set at the correct sample rate, and then it unscrambles it. Because of the wording or the encoding wording on it, and it's got to come back. It's got to go back, play back through the same. Otherwise, it would just have this kind of distortion kind of noise. As far as what I can make from it, not that I can hear anything above 20,000 apart from my cat. Can you hear anything above 20,000 kilohertz, Bear? Yes. Yeah, of course he can. Up to at least, I think, 90,000, 90k. Not that there's many things that are happening around here at 90,000 kilohertz, Bear. I mean, there's no mouse squeaking around here. Poor creatures. Oh, creatures great and small. Da, 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 da. Because they usually squeak at a very, very high pitch frequency. Oh, it's more of this thing again, the target curve. Is there a target curve on the Storm Audio? Would it make any difference? It's like I can see this target curve here, and what they're doing by giving too much bass boost and less in the mid range. That's okay because we can hear those frequencies quite easy. But the highs, come on, they're way down there. They're almost they're going to go almost unheard. No, I'd have it with looking like something like the Fletcher Munsing curve. And what are these here? I think I've seen something like similar like that on the Storm Audio. But I don't use it. And I can't even read what the heck that is. My goodness. I can't even read what that says. What's it say in the text? Display for third octave, 1/12 octave. 1/12, what about 1/48 octave? Yeah, 1/48. Hmm. Can't read what that says on there. Wonder if it looks like this on the actual processor when it's on a computer screen. Is it a bit more clearer, higher definition? Probably, most likely. Calibration. That's mostly what these are. But very disappointing when it comes to video. Decoders available. Dolby Digital Plus, Dolby True. Do you get those symbols apply on the processor? Because I don't see a Dolby Digital Plus symbol showing up on the Storm Audio. It just says Dolby Audio. Yeah. Or Dolby Atmos. Dolby Audio, Dolby Atmos. I don't care for DDSX. I don't care for Auromatic or Auro 3D, because Aura 3D is a complete, well, it's not even real 3D sound again, but it's got a complete dead sound format. And the way DDSX is going on, they're going to be a dead sound format soon. So it's like you buy this big bulk processors or AVRs, and eventually some of these sound formats are just going to be kaput. It's not like the professional systems that go in cinemas. A Dolby processor is a Dolby processor, a DTS processor is a DTS, an Aura processor is an Aura processor. They're all separate. And they all can connect together, but they are still all separate. It's just like, yeah, let's throw all in one thing. There's the IMAX. No, don't care for it. Oh, absolutely. IMAX. That's not IMAX. That's Limax. And that's a complete dead useless format to be using with DTS. Because with the lousy content being not provided, because how much do they provide? Very little. Totally useless. And again, got auto mode, layout, select, decoder, general setting, DSU, native Dolby Atmos, neural up mixer, DDSX, neural, native DDSX, native Auro sound. Just 3D. God, that just does my head in. Load of bullshit. I tell you what gets on my mind right here now is like they think because you put more speakers above Aura, you got the sides, you got another layer there, and then you got one on the. Can you really notice that? I mean, really, honestly. And I think the reason they try to make it like it's some bullshit 3D is because it's easier just to put speakers up on the ceiling than it is to put speakers laying on the floor, which is not too. I mean, that's simple. I mean, most people have been doing that for donkey years, speakers laying on the floor, literally on the floor, or they put them on a speaker stand. Yeah. And it's raised off the floor. But oh, I've seen lots of pictures. I've done it myself many years ago. Speaker laying literally on the floor, and of course, you got to tilt the angle because depending on where you're sat or what you could pick up with your ears, the frequency, tonality, what an SPL meter could pick up. And when you aim the speaker, you see the needle on the SPL go on the dBA range. You see it nudging up a little bit higher, and then the speaker is, in a good position. You move that SPL meter around a little bit to see how much up and down and across, how much deviation that needle moves by, and then you know it's okay. That's okay for high frequency. Oh yeah. Mm, 96K, 48 kilohertz. All these settings. Is that a headphone socket on that thing? I can't really tell. Was it or not? I can't even still tell to this day. Oh, it does have a headphone socket on it. Not that I think that's a plus one. I thought it looked like, but it was very difficult to see whether or not that was a headphone jack socket, and why there isn't a headphone jack socket on the Storm Audio. Huh? I mean, but I don't think the other thing could do it. Because I think that's just a standard. What's it? Unless they design it that way. Otherwise, I've got to use an outboard. Was it on the USB output on the Storm Audio connected into a little headphone preamplifier, and it's very low wattage, just enough so I could hear sound, but not enough so I can amplify a little bit on the little preamplifier for high frequencies. Otherwise, if I plugged it into the Denon headphones like that, I could get a little bit more. I can hear the amplitude being raised. I can hear the high highs if listening for sine wave tone. But just don't know why they just maybe Storm could make a new faceplate that goes on the front of the processor with headphone socket, so they can have an upgrade with some upgrade with a headphone. Otherwise, I don't see the need to use an outboard when it should be already. I mean, not all Dolby Cinema processors. So cinema processors have a headphone socket. I can't think of one Dolby CP processor that would have a headphone, though they have a way to connect, but that's just for calibration testing, and nothing for stereo. Nothing in the way stereo. DTS professional CAD processor that's got a headphone on it. Headphone jack. Sony SGDS cinema processor. It's got a cinema headphone monitor, which is a little bit different from the usual stereo one, so it can monitor all the channels or monitor stereo, whatever. Yeah, there's not many with a headphone. So you could do further analyzing, testing. So you can compare how the bass tone sounds on headphones. And you take them off and you listen to in the room and you think, I think there's still a lot more that needs attention to detail. something wrong with the sequence on that timing. You alright there? Whiskers? Oh, you know the whiskers. You know the whiskers, don't you? If going to go out, I just got to see where you left there. So it's probably in the bag. Probably in the bag. I'm sure it's still because I don't know. That's right. Let's get these. There's two, what's it? So I'll go out. I'll use those. Probably lost their charge. Oh gosh, which was it? Oh, there we go. I'll just leave that on for an hour. Get a bit of charge on that. I'll check that one, see what that one looks like. What would I get for the storm? Yeah, what would you get for it? That's not entirely true. Anyway, loudspeaker management. It's the same as a storm, same as anything else. It's pretty standard, that. Audio description. Shower audio description. Impaired. Shower. System auto config supply remapping of coordinate. Speaker configure data to 271 current channels. Decoders set up. Video input, color depth, color spacing, video mode, copy protect, horizontal res, vertical res, interlace, frame rate. No, do a little bit on the video, but video input 1, video video input, video output number 1, video output number 2. Oh yeah, on the HDMI, got HDMI 1 on the output 1 and 2, just like any other. So I suppose one is still connected to an OLED, one connected to a video projector. Timing, color depth, color space, DTR, video mode, copy protect, pixel, input video stream, video 3D structure, fields, copies. Terrible. What's that say there? First made for directly file, copy, protect, handshake, video, CP, video, muted. 1.4, 2.0. HDMI 1.4. Is that kind of phased out? And they got something that's 2 point something 1 or 2.2 now. So it means that the signal going in has more bandwidth rather than less. I don't know if that's upgradable through an actual board, or I don't think it's through software. CDH. I can see that there, and I can see what that almost looks like. Ouch. Hmm. Hang on. Which one's got that? It's yeah, something like those. That's pretty cheap. But are they parallel? Is it? Male or female? Hang on, it usually be. Oh, crikey. Don't know. Which is it? Male, female? Altitude 25 pin dim pin outputs. Okay. Got a PDF file here on the output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ground, cold, hot, ground, cold, hot, ground, cold, hot, ground, cold, hot, or ground, negative, positive, ground, negative, positive, pin to output 1 and 2, out 3 and 4, out 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13, 15, 16. I have to compare that with the Sony, see if it looks similar. I have to compare that. Might compare that later. doing education. Come on. Come on. Been up all night. I'm going out and, well, I don't know all that condensation out there. And go on the garage. Why is it? It's a Monday. Get some glove, put some gloves. Yeah. Go around the road with culture. Anyone walks by and I know it. Why didn't you put out the don't know if going out there, but I don't know, it depends. Depends on our temperature. Depends on the temperature. It's a bit bad. I'll say, probably just 12 over. So that's too bad, that temperature is I've got any gloves there. You'll be cozy, you'll be snuggle. You'll be snuggle. Okay. Still on top of research. Yeah, pins. Otherwise, XLRs, let's see. They're a female. There's a female one there. But is that input female, male, female? They're females. Female. Single white female. Whoops. Bloody hell, these pages, Yeah, the female, yes, just like on a Storm Audio. I mean, just like on the Sony SDDS. Okay, yeah. Hang on, there's... Whoopsie. Oh, wait a minute. Zoom up. There's no digital AES input. Oopsie. No, these don't have digital AES inputs. Got analog AES inputs, that's the same thing. AES in multi-tune, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go out. Let me see. Can you use both? You got the you got the DB25 connectors on the output. Where are they? 1 to 8, 1 through 8, 17 through 24, 25 through 32. And then you got the XLRs. Could those could those XLRs, whoopsie, about there. Can those XLRs actually be used, say, for sub-bass speakers? So you use the full range output channels up to 32. And have the XLRs for subs. 16 subs, and that's a bit overkill. Okay. What was this? Oh yeah, so that plugs in there, and then it's got to be the what's it? It's got to be like a DB20. It would have to be a DB25 with a male. Yeah. Yeah, so that plugs into the female, and then got males. And then you got females on the outputs going through to the rest of the system amplifiers. You connect that DB on there, and then unplug all of it, and then just connect the short lead DB25 to DB25. What's the shortest length they do? That's 2 meters, crying out loud. If they do anything short, mind you, that 2 meters is a pretty cheap price. Do you do any shorter? 1 meter? Half a meter? Got another lead here. That's cheaper price. Hang on. That's male on the DB25, that's a 2 meter one as well. And those are female XLR. They need to be male. There's another one, another lead there. It's just a little bit pricier there, but it's still cheap. Yeah, and I don't know why they got all this trinnov XLR, trinnov DB25 cable, £700. You gotta be kidding. What about this one? What about this lead? Mind you, that's a cheap lead. That's a cheap cable for the price. My goodness, 9 foot. 16 foot, crying out loud, that's cheap. But no, I don't like that length, crying out loud. Is there anything up? They must have one that's maybe 1 meter or half a meter. Otherwise, it's like taking the cable that's already all connected on one end and then cutting the cable in half and then resoldering the XLR connectors. I don't want to do that. Although you got the DBX Phoenix connector, the DB25 Phoenix. 2 meters. That's a bundle of cables behind there. Bundle. Ooh. Oh, those. Oh, yeah. Those are the spare repair things. Those DVs. Those are spare repairs. They got a lead that's a bit shorter. Type in 1 meter. Not seeing anything that's 1 meter. Okay. Hang on. What's that one? No, that's got female connectors on it. That's 1. It's 1 meter. Oh, it's just tiny pricey. No, not big deal, but it's still cheap. Just like the other ones. It's got female XLRs. They would have to be male. What about this one? No. Okay, back. Got that one. 2 meter. Not much difference there in the price. It's pretty cheap. Yeah, of course, the outputs would have to be checked on the pins. And if the pin wiring is different, then it's got to be resoldered and repositioned. Oh, crikey. Got to do some research. It might be just slightly, even though they go 1 through 8, there's 8 leads. It's 8 XRs. And which channel outputs are they? They're all bundled up. They don't really say. So it's like you've got to plug something in and then output some pink noise and then see which one's outputting which. And then label, and then put a label on then each one that one's there and so on. You've got to go start from, if it's the same as the Storm Audio, which I assume. And then you go from, where is it? Where is it? That picture. Oh, zoom in. No, back. Back. Zoom in a little bit. Oh, back. Yeah, hold it there. Zoom in a little bit. Hold it there. Okay. Channel starting from, if it's channel mapping assignment, start from channel 1. Have that as left, and then channel 2 as left center. Channel 3 is center. Channel 3 right center, and and so on right, and then next channel through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Have channel 6 as LFE, and then channel 7 and 8 for left surround, and right surround. That would probably be the middle. And then go over to the channel output. 1 through 8. Where is it? 1, 8. And then go channel. So I get confused there. Analog out, analog out, analog out, analog out. Okay, and then go. It's got to connect over to that one there, 9 and 16. And 9 would probably be 9 and 10 would be surround number 1, number 2, or it could be number 9 and 10 would be surround number 1, left to right, or could be, go back to channel 1 through 8. Go through 1 through 8. Left, center, right, and then do LFE, and then do maybe front, wide, left and right. That seems logical. So I keep those up front. And then go through 9 through 16 for left surround, right surround, left surround number 1, right surround number 1, left and right surround again number 2. So 1, 2, 1. So left 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then two more. Two more would be the corner of the room. Corners. Yeah, the far corners. Okay. And then you go over to the output 17 through 24. And that could be 17 through 24. I suppose you can duplicate like the Storm can. I suppose it can duplicate. So create a so you got the back wall. So do 7, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5 speakers going along the back wall. Usually it's typical 6, or some installations it could be from 8 to 10 speakers, from what I've usually seen in the layout today. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. All right, and then 6, 7, 8. That leaves three left. Three left. Much choice there. Three left. Three left. Three left over. Three of those left over. I don't know. I really don't know. Three left over. Where would it be? Can't. It's all the same with the what's it? I think those are additional extra outputs, but do they get used often? Crikey. So how often do they get used in an Atmos mix these days? Really, honestly. Anyway, okay. Those three, I'll just imagine they're already used up. And then that leaves channel outputs 25 through 32. So that would be overhead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 7 and 8. Yeah, probably would do. I would if, but that's how I would use the outputs. Start from there. I use the 5 screen in that order, and then it should all show. So it's all in continuity. But just like a Storm, there's no video inputs on these things, just HDMIs. So it's something that's plugged into a Denon again. No video inputs. They got little bundles of, can these, I suppose you can't use those as video inputs. Assignment, reassign the, you got unbalanced RCAs. You can use XLRs or the DV25s as either balanced or unbalanced. I don't know why they use bundles of. It just makes it a quick connection, but really they could have used some of that for video input signals. Maybe a few extra more optical digital inputs. Yeah. There's not a lot on the back here that you can unscrew. You can unscrew that HDMI. Get in there and you unscrew it and take it out. It's different to the layout on the back is different to a Stormware because it's upgradable through actual parts. Oh, other thing is, does this thing have a fan on it? Where's a picture of it inside? There's always a picture of Oh, is that a picture of it? Oh no, that's different unit completely. Is that a picture of it? Oh, looks like it. Where's the picture of it? Oh, crikey, it's not showing there. It could be anywhere. Oh, bollocks to this. What's this one? Hang on. Oh, there's another picture here. There's always a picture somewhere. Okay, it does have a fan in it. Okay, I can see how that fan's positioned. But this is what I get. The layout, it just looks. Yeah, these circuits, these circuit boards, PCBs. Like again, it's like it's got bundles and bundles and bundles and bundles. How noisy is that fan? How loud is that fan? And there's another thing for the fans. You got to have this. Oh, hang on. Looks like there are two fans inside it. Oh yeah, I see that other one there hiding. Hmm. So it's ventilated from the underneath. Okay. So every while, these fans are going to need cleaning because they're going to get dust on them. They wear down or they start making because they just accumulate dust, very microscopic particles of dust. Yeah, so probably need cleaning once every year or so. Just like amplifiers. Amplifiers, they suck in dust and hairs and such, and you get the vacuum round it and clean the amplifier, make it sound good again. Really. -70. I can't read that. What is that? That's Italian, that language. I can see the signal noise ratio. What is that? -45? Minus 145. That's pretty low. Hmm. Hmm. So spike peak there at that frequency. What's that? 100. Hmm. Hmm. Don't need that. Probably have something else in there if you know what it is. Probably get around that. What the heck is that? Oh, the extender thing. Oh, right. So again, XLR ins out. DB25s. How come the numbers on the outputs are going 1 through 8? Oh, yeah, because the pin, yeah, still, but wouldn't it be going up to 48? So that's 2. How does that work? So it got to be connected with an ether lead or something, and then it send the handshake command or something over to that, and then it then extends. And for what does it do? Wow, something like that, if it were doing below surround, would be interesting. Not too bad. Maybe a start. I don't know. Still too much to well, that there is interesting, but yeah, you could do that on the Storm audio. Actually, I could do that on the DCX. Okay, that's enough looking at that. Too much of that.